Hello and welcome back to another CAD clip lesson on Revit structure. And this is just a quick little lesson talking about the file extensions that Revit uses and saves to, etc. And I've just got some text in here, and I notice as I'm zooming around one thing, if I'm going to zoom in on some notes here that I've made. But just as an added note, I notice that some people don't realize if my mouse is over here and I wheel in to zoom, it'll go that way. If my mouse is down here and I zoom in, it'll go this way. If my mouse is over here and I zoom in, it'll go that way. If my mouse is right over top of where I want and I zoom in, it zooms in on that area. So a lot of people don't realize. I'll see them zooming over here and they never seem to get what they want. Hover over the center of what you want and then wheel in with your wheel button in your mouse. So Revit file extensions. Well, we've got the .rvt. That is a normal Revit project file, be it with work sets or not. When we create a Revit file, a project file, and we do a save as or a save, it gets saved as an RVT file. If I'm in this project right here and I go File and I say Save As, it's going to save it as a .rvt. If I want, I can change it to be a .rte, Revit template, project template file. I'm going to hit Escape, and go back here. So we've got basically most of your project files are going to be a .rvt. Then we've got a .rte, and that is a project template file, which means we talked about templates earlier. If I go File, New, Project, okay, New Project, and I say the template file, if I click in here and use my arrow keys and go to the end, okay, there's my default template file, which we saw in our previous lesson, which is set up under Options. It's going to use this .rte as my project template file, and I can browse to a different file if I want. That is what's used to start the project. So I hit OK and I start a new project using the default Revit structure analysis RTE file. Once I'm in the project and I do a save or a save as, it gets saved as an RTE file. If I want to actually create my own template file, which we'll talk about in a separate lesson, I can then further change that and say save this file I'm in as an actual project template file to be used later as a template file. Okay, so project template files. I'm just going to say File. I'm going to close off this one, back to my original file, which is over here. Okay, project, and it just gives it, project 5, because then it keeps adding numbers to it, because I haven't really officially given this particular project. So project file RVT, project template files RTE. Okay, you use these to start a project, and you can also save them as an RTE. A lot of times what we'll do is take an RVT project file, erase everything except for maybe the levels, the grid lines, and families, and all this stuff that's in your project browser. This gets saved in the project file as well as the template file. So if you've got maybe, for example, a residential project, well, go in, erase all the doors and windows and walls and beams and columns and stuff like that, or depending on whatever framing you have, delete the physical objects and then save it as an RTE template, project template file, and then you can use it for future use. So project template file down here and project file. Then we have family files. We have the regular family file, and then we have a family template file. Exactly the same thing except for families. When we look at our families down inside of here in Revit, everything's categorized. We've got, beam families, column families, foundation families, framing families, okay? HSS, wide flange, and this gets, as we add and load new families to our project, these RFA files come in, okay? Load families, rebar families. So families are very sophisticated, kind of nested objects within our Revit project, but they're also external files. It's a .rfa file. If I go to a website and grab, the Pella windows or the Anderson windows, or, doors, or someone has a railing, or, Revit has lots of extra little objects that you can save as external files, and they are a .rfa file. Okay, if I go in here and I say, I'm going to draw a new beam, and I look in my type selector and I don't see the beam that I want inside of here, I say, okay, no problem, I'm going to go load one. So I hit the load button, and guess what it looks for? .rfa files. Now I can go to a web library and go to an internet site or Autodesk and go load or search for RFA files on the web. I can go browsing here to anywhere I want. Okay, the main thing is if I go into here, for instance, and I go to let's say structural, and then I go to columns. I wasn't doing a beam, but I should probably do that, and then go to steel. These are RFA files. These are different beam files, and then from down within that one big RFA file, there's all these other little nested types. So these are types within this one RFA file. So that's the nice thing about RFA family files, Revit family file, is it has nested types within that one great big file. So within this, plate file, no, nothing, no types in there. Okay, let's pick something more standard, an L-shaped angle. Well, within this angle.rfa file, I can take this file and I can copy and paste, and I can email this to a friend or save it or put it on a web page or put it on a burn it to a DVD, whatever I want. This .rfa family file has all of these different types. Okay, when I load this, I can load the whole family, or I can just go down here and selectively pick the types within that. Look at all the different angle types that are all within that one RFA external family file that happen to be saved in this location. Revit family file. Okay, everything, if I just back up a step here and I go into my families, okay, once you bring it in, it gets stored and saved inside of here. Structural beam, structural column, structural framing. Well, watch what happens. I'm going to go in here. I'm going to pick component. Component is just a generic term. Well, these are all the different components available. I'm going to hit load, and I'm going to go back to that structural. Okay, notice it's looking for RFA, structural, framing, steel. I'm going to grab that angle, and I'm going to hit open. Now I'm going to be able to place that. Okay, and it's asking me we should read. Click to place a free instance, space bar to rotate. So I'm just going to maybe pick on here, and it's going to give me a little bit of a warning. Now the main thing is, doesn't matter, look down here. Under my structural framing, now I have that family loaded, L, and then that one particular. Now actually I stand corrected in that I didn't load all of them, it only picked the one. Okay, I might want to go back and try that again. Component, load, structural, framing, steel, angles. Okay, now I'm going to go in here and I'm going to go shift, click, and then hit open. Or loading family types are not going to be used. That's fine. So bring in a bunch of angles. Now watch what happens down inside of here. You can see it's bringing in all those angle files, and it's just giving me a bit of a warning that, don't load them all unless you need them, because it just makes that file bigger, of course, right? So I bring those in, and guess what? Now I have all those angle files. Well, depending on what view I'm in, maybe I'm going to go back to level 1. Now I can go grab that angle file and bring it in and draw that angle and probably change myself to be fine detail. And there's my steel angle. Well, maybe I want this one. Click on here, draw that steel angle. Okay, and it's going to label those for me because of the detail level, etc. We'll learn about that. So different angles, these are families. This is the family, and then these are the different types within that. Now when I go to pick component, well, I'm going to have different components available inside of here, and then these angles are now saved in my structural, and I don't want to go into any more detail than that. Okay, I'm just going to go back and delete these. Okay, and then go to my project 5 and then back to here. So a family file is an external file, and it's all different. All of these are different types of families: doors and windows and railings and roofs and site and stairs and all different things. These are all RFA files. Now, when you want to make your own family file, you use a family template file. Okay, same philosophy as these, but for families specifically. Maybe I want to create my own family file, and we'll learn a little bit about this. We go File, New. Instead of Project, we say New Family, or New Title Block. Both of these will use a family template file. New Family. Well, when I create a new family, first of all, in my options from the previous lesson, it told me where to go find these template files if you want to review that lesson. And then if I want to make a new family, well, what type of family do I want? Is it a window family? Is it a structural framing family? Is it a foundation family? Is it a column family? I'm going to make a new custom column, and so I'm going to use look RFT. Okay, it's looking for RFT files because escape, File, New, Family, or New Title Block. Okay, remember, again, title blocks are pathed to here because of our options. Again, RFT, I'm going to make a new title block based on a C size, a B size, an A size, or an E size. Escape, File, New, Family. Go back, I'm going to make a new family, an RFA file, based on this column RFT file. This is only used to get you started. Once I get inside here and I say, okay, now I'm going to make a new column family, well, I'm going to say, okay, and I can go in and create this family, and then when I go File, Save, or Save As, it gets saved as an RFA file, not an RFT, because the template is only used to start you. Once you save it, it's an RFA file. I'm going to hit Escape, and I'm just going to go File and close off that project. Okay, closes that one project and all the views associated to that. So there's a quick lesson. When you save a project, RVT. When you want to make a new project based on a template or save to, using project template, RTE. Family files are saved as RFA. They're an external file. You can load them in. You can email them around. And when you make a family file, you use an RFT as a family template starting point. And we will learn more about templates and families specifically. I just wanted to clarify here the actual philosophy on the file extensions and how they get implemented.